Okay. And I'm not going to get into the whole monogamy, polygamy, that sort of thing. It goes back to, it's a thing that I call chips. Okay. Character, honor, integrity, principle, and sanity. Okay. If you have that in your union, then you have more than a puncher's chance of success. Okay, and I'll repeat it again: character, honor, integrity, principle, and sanity.
Yeesh, that sanity is the one though. Because and again, a lot of things can drive you crazy. The lack of
Mm.
space, the lack of finances, the lack of care, the lack of communication. Um,
But
so
but oh okay, but you got to remember when I say sanity, okay, you're trying to have a sane, healthy African marital union inside an insane, toxic
Cut.
incubator
Woo.
called racism, white imperialism. And that's why I said when we get into dialogues like this, we have to remember the context in which we're trying to flourish. Because that 800-pound gorilla, and I'll put it this way, you know, when you're working for somebody, guess what? That outside entity is dictating economic policy in your house.
It is.
Okay.
we've talked about this before with the movie Claudine.
Check. Okay. And the character James Earl Jones, it's like he's doing what nature has built him to do as a man, but now you've got a system that has declared war on him, saying, okay, if you do what nature has built you to be, we will not only punish you, but we will punish the family that you intend to, take care of its welfare. Which is why I say in my book, we believe that welfare is an insidious form of slavery. Because anytime you try to get free of it, it punishes you for it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So that's why, I go back to our hip hop ancestor Prodigy when he says there's a war going on outside no man is safe from. And as brothers, we aren't safe from that type of warfare where now you're trying to shut off all legitimate means of earning income, whether it's through employment, self-employment, entrepreneurship,
Wow.
which forces us into the underworld and the underground,
The
which we don't
underbelly.
want to do, but when your back is against the wall,
It's about survival.
right?
Period.
Don't push me cuz I'm close to the edge. Yo,
I believe I can fly, but I'm gonna fall.
right.
Okay.
So that's a mental stronghold. How do we break
Yeah.
it? How, because we're habitual creatures and the mind gets triggered by the dopamine release, right? So the idea of doing something versus actually doing something can either be a beautiful cycle or a vicious cycle. If I believe that I can do it and then I do it, then I reward myself the action of actually doing it. Versus what a lot of people do is, I think I can, and then they immediately
Mm.
stop. How do we break that mental stronghold? Because they're not going to pick up your book until they believe that picking up your book and reading it and following the instructions will do something. They're not going to join the tribe. They're not going to send their kids to TRS Productions until they believe that
Mm-mm.
by doing those things will have some kind of effect, a positive effect on their lives. So how do we encourage each other to be like, hey, keep going, keep going, keep going?
I'll put it
I
to you
think.
this way. Um, you are either inspired to change or you will be desperate for change. It'll be one of those two. Okay.
That's good.
And when you get to that point, it's like the story about the dog laying on a bed of nails and he's howling. Okay. And the man asks the owner, well, why doesn't the dog get up? And the owner says he's not in enough pain yet. So how much pain is it going to take for us to get up off the bed of nails and make change? It's one thing to make noise, but it's another to make real change.
Now, you said a mouthful, and I know sis getting ready to speak, but
Okay.
before you do, I got to say this because everything you said, as always, I need to be up under your feet, brother. I really do because we have so many like beliefs, and I want to also thank everybody for wearing their hoodies tonight. I see sister got her TRS shirt on. I see you got. I want one of those goat hoodies you got there,
Oh no,
brother.
this is unfortunate. This is Echo.
That's okay. That's something else you're involved in.
No, no, this is
Name
Echo
brand.
Wear. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Hey,
Well, you
but
got to get you a hoodie. Next time you come on the shirt, you got to have
Okay.
your hoodie
Okay.
on. And you still got
Okay.
good guidance up here. I don't have alchemic aura, but one of the things I do tell my clients or remind them of is that when you get tired enough of what you're dealing with and you're in enough pain, you'll change. And it usually happens that way. But people don't respond to anything seems like except extreme pain. Okay, well, I'm gonna give them one more chance. If he hits me and breaks my nose one more time, I'm gonna leave. And these stipulations that people put on themselves to invoke change is just is that's insanity right there. But it happens. So like Goddess says, you have to get to the point where change is not to be inspired by pain. It should not be inspired by pain. It should be motivated because you want a better life. But we're kind of in a screwy society where these false beliefs that say you got to stay with your husband, you got to stay with your wife, you got to put up with it. Well, it's a paycheck, and all of these nonsensical belief systems that make us uncomfortable and stay in uncomfortable situations are dangerous, just actually deadly. So, sis, if you could, please.
Yeah, definitely. I was gonna add on that inspiring piece, inspiration versus desperation or what have you. Like for me, I got tired. Like I'm in entertainment in Hampton Roads area. I believe in providing, especially the youth, with quality training experiences. But I also know that there was only one company in this area that has been around for years and years and years and gets all the funding and all that kind of stuff. But I also know a lot of kids that look like me are not a part of that program. One, because they can't afford it. And so it was like the desperation of like, okay, when you get tired of being tired, you're going to do something about it. So it was like either complain or do something about it. So in January 2020, that's how TRS Kids started, to provide kids with what I didn't see, opportunities for quality training for kids that look like me, and specifically, right? And then, like I said, the other part of that piece of the inspiration, being able to be in a room. I think when you surround yourself with like-minded people, like I'm more interested to find out what his book is about now that we've had this conversation, because I've been in the room with y'all. So now I
Really,
want him to
girl.
tell. I'm like, Jar, I need you to fit guidance. I need you to send me right the link to get his book, because now I want to know, right? So when you get in that room with other individuals, you become inspired, and then that also invokes that change. I think that's along the line of what he was saying, that you be in the room in those situations, you're like, oh wow, okay, it's something about sitting in the room with other like-minded individuals to know that like you're not the only one that thinks big.
Mhm.
Sometimes we surround ourselves with folk who not thinking big enough. They're just not on that level of thought process, and that's okay too. For that's where you are. But when I do stuff, I think big. I want to go above and beyond. I'm thinking bigger than just my immediate circle or what have you, and the impact that I want to make. So I definitely 100% agree with that. Inspiration will inspire you to do things, and you get desperate enough, you inspire you to do things. Being in a situation where I write productions, and we have a domestic violence production onward and upward that we do. That was one of those situations where I had a college student when I was in college at Old Dominion. Shout out to the Monarchs, ODU. I tell people all the time that I bleed blue and white because I'm a graduate of Old Dominion, but I sweat green and gold because I started learning on Norfolk State campus at 8. Um, so
hold the green and
I
gold.
claim both. Yeah, I
Mhm.
claim both universities. Shout out to Norfolk State and shout out to Old Dominion.
Hip,
But being
hip,
able
whoop,
to
whoop.
bring a subject matter on campus like that for domestic violence, it affected me because as a senior student there, I had a friend of mine that was killed due to domestic violence. We were both senior theater majors. Rest in peace, Sharika Brown. Also, Michelle L. Rollins, a family member of mine, was killed December 31st of 2018 due to domestic violence. So you get desperate. You like, okay, what can I do to invoke change and really make an impact? Okay, let me write something that'll help people see themselves and pull that mirror up into what they're doing. So 100% agree with what the gentleman was saying about inspiration and those things that affect you traumatically or what have you, that you get desperate enough or go through enough pain or whatever, and it pushes you and propels you to try to get better and do better for yourself and for your family and for the community.
I absolutely love it. Y'all touch on some phenomenal things, and to bring it back, the brother said in the beginning, and it's another way of saying it: a man that doesn't work doesn't eat.
Mhm.
I love that in every way, right? Woman is still a man, right? A woman doesn't work, doesn't eat. We as a collective need to honor each other's amount of work, right? My papa and my mom, they got to work. They both got to work collectively together, either whether it's communication or financially. But again, this podcast is being brought to you to show you that we out here. Like
Mhm.
Tanya said, we often on multiple levels, whether it's motherhood, whether it's being a phenomenal woman, whether it's the attempt to be a phenomenal wife. I say attempt for me because I ain't nobody's wife yet, but I am very much so a wife. We make this attempt to put in this effort. And like I tell my children, it's not about perfection, it's about consistency,
Mm,
doing the same thing over and over again. The reason I believe that Tanya's relationship and mom's relationship were able to last so long is due to the consistency of effort and communication that you put forth, the intention, as the sister said. So I love everything that we talk about. Um, what are some last thoughts that we can drop knowledge, because attention spans only last but so long. So let's start ladies first, of course. Tanya, as um, our last guest on the show today, what is some knowledge you can drop from your ideas as a woman, as a entrepreneur, as a mother, as a friend, that we can take away? Three things to be a better individual in your life, so that as you are better to yourself, the world around you gets better.
absolutely. Well, first up, I will say 100% self care is mandatory. It is necessity. Schedule it like you schedule a doctor's appointment or a dentist appointment or anything like that. That is something that I constantly I'm working on within myself to do better with taking care of myself because with working these different opportunities when it comes to performing and entertainment and teaching and all of that, I oftentimes get kind of inundated with a lot of stuff kind of going on. So 100%, I say self-care is mandatory. It is not something that you can take on the schedule and say I may do, I may not. No, it's mandatory. Two, I
Right.
would say as an entrepreneur, make sure that you are not focusing on just the circle around you. Because oftentimes those that you want, and I had someone tell me this before, and I'm hoping it blesses someone else as well. They said, Tanya, your light shines so bright that sometimes the people closest to you are blinded by it. So they can't see the impact of it because it's so bright because they're closest to it. But you wonder why the people that are farther away from you that you've never met before, never had interaction with before, are seeming more supportive, or they're willing to donate or pour into what you're doing. And they said it's because your light shines so bright that it reaches the distance of where they are. So that's why they can see how far, like, man, her light shines all the way over here to me. I want to know more about what she's doing. I want to know about what the impact that she's making. So, try not to get caught up in the support or lack thereof from the closest people in your circle. Expand that horizon, and then also surround yourself with individuals that are on another level than what you are, where you're trying to see yourself go. Mentorship is really big for me. A lot of the things that I've learned over the past 2 years in regards to business, it's very new. I've been I started my company in 2006 with TRS Productions. And within the past 2 years, I've like grown and learned so much from on the business side of things, with just having access to information I didn't even know existed. So surrounding yourself with mentors and those that you could kind of ask those hard questions to and say, listen, I don't really know, because I'm a good for walking in the room and talking my talk, and not always having it all planned out and figured out when I go talk it. But I let you know and make you feel like I know what I'm talking about, right? So those things, those be the three things that I would say. Self care is mandatory. Try to expand your circle outside of those immediately with you in regards to support systems, and then surround yourself with individuals that are also learning and growing and scaling, so that you can also do the same thing. To better the impact that you're making in the community, on yourself, and the community at large.
Shay says, I receive all of that, all of that. What about you, Mama? What three things would you add um, to allow us to grow?
Well, you know, I don't know how you can get any more clearer than what our guests have stated tonight. Um, Brother Minister made it clear that number one, we have to get on the same page in terms of understanding that there's not a fair fight here. We have to create and liberate ourselves so that we can be free. And financial freedom doesn't always come from a job. Financial freedom does not come just from money. Money is not just earnings from an income from a job. Earnings can be resources, power, networking, um, connecting with your tribe, like Sis says, being around like-minded people, like Tanya said. Uh, if you don't have a strategy for your life and how you want to uh, create your marriage or your relationships to be, then you're just in a relationship. And most relationships end up becoming sinking ships because they don't have a destination, a plan. They're just treading water. And it's critical to create a strategy. So that would be number two. And number three, I would say, is the same way you take care of everything else that you claim is important in your life, your hair, your nails, your body, your temple, your car, your home. You got to take care of yourself. And you got to take care of, and part of taking care of yourself is making sure that you can survive and thrive, without having to depend on someone else or someone else for your income. You can create your own, use your own creativity, your own vitality, your own time, and get your time back so you can enjoy your relationships without having to um, be relegated to 19 minutes a day. So that would be what I would say.
Thank you so much for those gems. And I agree, it's not simple, but it's not supposed to be simple. Anything worth having is definitely worth working for. Brother Zumbi, tell us your final thoughts. Three things that we can give to the people right now that they can take with them and start to implement right now.
Okay. And this can be used for both genders, but I'm going to speak especially to the women. Okay. To women, ask yourself this question: can I effectively run a household? If the answer is yes, then you can effectively run a business because the concepts are the same. What's the number one thing that you deal with in running a household that running a business is the same? Cash flow management. Okay. So running a household will be your first training ground for running a business. So if you ever doubt yourself, just look at how you run your household, and that will be an indicator of how you can run a business. That's number one. Number two, I'm going to show you how you can create a business with what you already have. Okay. If you have a laptop, desktop, iPhone, what have you, okay. If you have internet access, and if you have information that you can organize, package, monetize, and systematize, do you know what you have? You have the makings of a publishing company, and you didn't have to take out a bank loan to do it. So sometimes start with what you already have, because what you got to remember is that regardless of what industry you focus on, you are always in the money making business. Okay. And then finally, one of the things that women can do is become an expert in something. Now, I'm going to show you how you can become an expert for under $50. Ask yourself, how many books would it take minimum for me to be an expert in a particular discipline, whether it's finance, whether it's marketing, or what have you? If you can read a minimum of 3 books in a certain discipline, you will be considered an expert. The average American only reads 1 book a year. And in most cases, that book is a romance novel. So imagine if you were to read a book a week in a particular discipline, you will be so far ahead of the majority of the population in America that people are lazy enough to where they will pay you for what you know. So those are the 3 things that I would like to leave with the audience, particularly the women.
Yeah, that's so dope. I absolutely love it because again, it's very simple. It's very simple what we're able to do for ourselves if we just one pay attention to ourselves. So it's my turn now to talk about our little things. Uh, I want to say thank you to all of our members on the panel today. Thank you for your insight. No romance without finance. It's the old school song that everybody knows. The main thing that we're pushing here is a mindset. Now, mine specifically is the fit goddess mindset. You see my lovely sons there. Um, with the fit goddess mindset, we encourage you to eat, sleep, and exercise, right? Every day, every day, whether it's exercising your mind, exercising your body, or just moving in general. We want you to remember that we're here as a collective, whether it be Alchemic or Minister Brother Mr. Zumbi or Tanya. We're here to service the community in the ways that our talents and skills are best suited for us. Our strengths, we have found our passions, and we're here at your disposal to assist you, whether it be through getting mentally fit or physically fit. That's my passion, or whether it's financially fit, like Brother Zumbi over here, or maybe it's your aura, like my mom. But our main focus is to empower growth. We are super excited that you were able to tune in with us this evening. We really, really hope to see you again next week. We'll be here again live Mondays at 7:15. Remember, we're here. We're fit to heal. I can't wait to check you again later. Peace.